Hey y'all. Long story short, the videos that I'm recording right now, the first one, this one number 7, I think, it turned out very bad because when I started the recording, I forgot to check which microphone it was using. I'm right now on my Hyper Quest, um, and yeah, I have two microphones attached to this computer. One is off my webcam, which has now been deactivated, and the other one is this HyperQuest. Um, I've never recorded with the webcam one before, and it would be really terrible if I did something very stupid like, oh, I don't know, read 22 pages of a book. Um, with this said recording, and my throat hurts very badly, and I just don't want to go back and reread it. So I'm just gonna edit this, but just to give you a little taste of what you're gonna see once the intro starts, it's
I'm wrong. Wait, I'm right.
and just to show this right now, if I go to the audio effects, the telephone one is not on, but now that I have it, let's see. Can it double telephone? Can it?
I don't know anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yes, it can. I'm not doing that. But I'm going to try my best to fix it with the software I have. More than likely, that is not going to be possible. So, y'all enjoy what is going to be really, really bad. Later on, I figure out that this happened. Um, but yeah, on with the episode.
Hello, everyone. My name's Stonesy Boy, and welcome back to Reading with Stonesy. Today, we are reading pages 121 to 142 of Sergio's Lucky Day. Last time I don't know. It's been a second since I've last read. He did something. I really don't know what. Oh yeah, right. I think he's gonna go out to dinner with a girl. Yeah, that's what he's happening. But today is the last episode of. No, I'm wrong. Wait, I'm right. I don't know anymore. Yeah, it's the last episode of Sergio's Lucky Day. So we'll figure out how he's going to go. I think last time I even confessed that it's going to be like, oh, he's going to be rejected. He's going to go into a spiral, manic spiral, and yeah, yada yada. So I'm not really excited for the end of this. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. Sergio played with his plans for a few more minutes, and then he got ready for dinner. Putting his hair of casual black slacks and gray and black striped dress shirt, he grabbed the black leather jacket to finish off his ensemble. Then he started toward the door, only cringing a little when Thunderfeet started a two-step on his ceiling. When he reached the door, his gaze fell on Lucky Boy, who still sat on the table. Sergio felt bad leaving Lucky Boy home alone. He was giving Sergio all this great advice. Did he deserve to sit around like a knickknack in an empty apartment? No way! Sergio picked up Lucky Boy, tucked him under his arm, and headed for the door. Then Sergio glanced at Miss Bailey's closed door before he walked down the hall. Lucky Boy giggled. Miss Bailey hadn't bothered Sergio since this raisin outburst. He was hoping her hurt feelings or whatever was keeping her inside her own walls would hold until he'd move into his new place. In his lifted truck, Sergio put Lucky Boy in one of the cup holders on the console. Then he had put Lucky Boy in more of a hole that seemed polite. Sergio dug some paperwork out of the glove box, folded it up, and made a sort of elevated seat for Lucky Boy. Lucky Boy giggled. You might not want to do that when Claire's around, Sergio said, starting the engine. Oops, wrong voice. Other people's judgments are irrelevant, Lucky Boy said. Sergio glanced at his new friend. You're right, actually. Okay, laugh if you want to. Lucky Boy giggled. Sergio loaded out a parking garage. Do you think I should take her something? Flowers? Too much or not enough? Roses speak from the heart, Lucky Boy said. Okay, roses it is. Sergio stopped by the florist and bought a dozen pink roses. Judging from Claire's bright eyes and big smile when she spotted him on the dashboard, he made a good choice. She looked at the flowers to Sergio. For me? Of course. She reached out for them and then frowned. What's wrong? What's wrong? Are you allergic? No, I was just thinking they'll wilt while they're at dinner. Sergio shook his head. I had them put those little vials of water in each stem. Claire looked at him and smiled widely. Then he hugged him. You're so thoughtful. Sergio accepted the hug and gave Lucky Boy a thumbs up behind Claire's back. As soon as Claire was buckled into her seat, she noticed Lucky Boy and she picked him up. What's this? Sergio tensed, feeling strangely possessive of the little guy. Yeah, that's Lucky Boy. He's sort of like a mascot. Claire gave him a puzzled look. Sergio hesitated and then looked to go ahead and tell her whole story. Before it seemed wrong to talk about Lucky Boy, but now it felt disrespectful not to talk about him. Not telling the truth like that felt like Sergio was taking credit in return of the events of his life has taken. So Lucky Boy would have been some type of recognition. Sergio told Claire the whole story. Claire listened with rapt attention, her brows furrowing higher and higher as the story went on. Then Sergio was done. He turned Lucky Boy over. How does it work? How does it work? Sergio shrugged. You're not curious? You don't want to take it apart and find out? She started tugging on Lucky Boy's arms. Sergio grabbed Lucky Boy away from Claire. No! Claire's eyebrows climbed a notch higher. Sorry, Sergio said. I guess I'm sentimental about it. Claire looked from Lucky Boy to Sergio and back. I understand, she said. Sergio didn't think she did, but he didn't say anything else, and by then they'd arrived at the restaurant. The next few weeks pressed in a blur. While Sergio was waiting for a deal to close, he finished his designs. Then he submitted them for approval in the city permits offices. While he talked to contractors, he was looking for exactly the right team to work on this project. It didn't take him long to find it. Soon after that, he got approval, and the renovation began. Also, Sergio moved into his new place. He wasn't planning on leaving his old apartment before the renovations to his new place were done, but his lease came up for renewal, and he felt get penalty if he left before the end of the year. That made no sense, so he left the lease lapse. He hired movers to pack up his stuff and move everything to his new property. So long, Thunderfeet. So long, Miss Bailey. Although the warehouse was a mess, filled with piles of demolished wood, concrete, and drywall, a maze of walls stripped with the studs, exposed pipes and wiring, Sergio was able to clear out a quarter of and stack his belongings, store his furniture, and set up his bed. He had electricity and one working bathroom. He had no kitchen. He bought a small fridge for things like milk and the sandwich fixings, but mostly he figured he would eat out or take out, and it was basically urban camping. Sergio felt like he did when he was a little kid starting a new adventure. What do you think? He asked Lucky Boy when he set the toy on top of the pile of boxes near the bed. Sergio did his patent moonwalk and spin, threw his arms out and up. Isn't this place going to be great? You deserve the best, Lucky Boy said. This will be the best when it's done. Lucky Boy giggled. Sergio once again found himself having long days, but being his own boss, he didn't mind it so much. He was enjoying overseeing his project until he wasn't. And he was enjoying Claire until he wasn't. The problem wasn't the project was money. It turned out he didn't underestimate the cost. He didn't have a budget big enough to do all he wanted to do. And if he couldn't do what he wanted to do, he would have created impressive space. If he didn't create an impressive space, he wouldn't be able to use his home as a platform to get clients. Where can I get more money? Sergio asked Lucky Boy one evening. The rich people have lots of money. Sergio wasn't sure what to make of that, but he figured Lucky Boy would make it clear soon enough. Lucky Boy always told him what to do. By now, Sergio was taking Lucky Boy wherever he went. Lucky Boy helped him all day long. He helped Sergio pick out materials, make design decisions, manage his time, even helped Sergio choose his food. Lucky Boy also advised him on other purchases, like all the electronics he was buying for a new place and all the casual clothes he was buying to replace his more formal work wardrobe. Then Sergio worried that he was going through his money. Lucky Boy said, "You deserve the best." Lucky Boy had the same thing to say about Claire. Everything with Claire was great at first. She appreciated the places he took her and the flowers and the gifts he brought her. Then the money got tighter, and he had to stop giving her gifts and start suggesting they stay home for takeout. She began changing. Oh, well, she acted sweet and all, but she was sure he could sense an undertone with all the things he said. Of course, I wouldn't mind having a picnic on the floor of your place, sounded like, where do you get off making me sit on the floor, cheapskate? It wasn't her words exactly, but it was inflections of her words. And when there were ways she was trying to improve him, she went out about it in a sneaky way. She wouldn't tell him she didn't like his shirts, for example. She would just bought him gifts of new shirts. She didn't tell him she hated his taste in music. She just brought him new CDs. It was becoming annoying. And then there was the helpful suggestions. When he was complaining that he wished he was taller, she said, well, you could always have these lifts put in your shoes, sweetie. Why couldn't she have been supported and said, don't be silly, you're plenty tall? He was starting to get tired of coming up short, literally and figuratively. When Sergio had lost Lucky Boy about Claire, he said, you deserve the girl of your dreams. Sergio agreed. He needed to stop wasting time with women who weren't right for him. There was only one girl for him, and that girl was Sophia. He couldn't have her in high school, but things were different now. Not only have he deserved to have her, but she would be lucky to have him. He was going to have to break up with Claire. Unfortunately, a meet-the-parents dinner was coming up. His mother had been begging him to set it up for weeks, and the week before she called, ostensibly, to tell him he'd receive his first invitation to his 10th high school reunion. But once she had him on the phone, she said, When are you going to meet? When are we going to meet your Claire? You keep putting me off, Sergio. It's not nice to put your mother off. 3 weeks ago you said next week. 2 weeks ago you said next week. A week ago. I get it, Mama. So, how about this week, he said. Perfect, his mother said. You come on Saturday. Now he wished he hadn't agreed. Should I cancel dinner? He asked Lucky Boy. Your father's rich, Lucky Boy said. Go to dinner. Get a loan. Sergio had never asked his dad for money, but Lucky Boy was right. Tony was rich. Why not ask for a loan when he went for the dinner? He'd have to break up with Claire after that. As Sergio suspected, his parents liked Claire in sight. His mother fussed over Claire so much, he said, She's not royalty, Mama. Well, I'm just being friendly, his mother patted on the gray and black hair, in which he had twisted into an elaborate bun. She smoothed the skull skirt of the emerald green cocktail dress. His mother liked to get dolled up. Claire lifted her chin and said, Sergio, don't you know all women want to be treated like royalty? Fine, Sergio said. Then I'm going to leave you regal ladies here. I need to talk to Papa. Tony had greeted Sergio and Claire when he retreated back to his study. His work wasn't done for the day, but he boomed, Come in, when Sergio knocked on the door. Sergio stepped into the father's domain. As always, he stopped and looked in awe at the space. Tony loved historic architectural details. He designed an office filled with so many cardwood features and so many filigree trimmings that it looked like something out of a 16th century. His massive office, over 1,000 square feet, and it vaulted 2 stories, lined with bookshelves stuffed with books. The room had a rolling ladder and tall shelves and a spiral staircase to an upper balcony. She's a prize, Tony said to Sergio before motioning Sergio to a plush maroon leather couch by the brick fireplace. Sergio said. Tony lowered himself to the recliner. But you're not here to talk about here. What's on your mind, son? I need a loan, Sergio said. He decided to be direct. I thought you won all that money. I've spent nearly all of it. Tony's bushy white eyebrows rose. Papa, you always said you have to spend money to make money, and that's what I'm doing. I have to create a mind-blowing renovation, something so good that it's going to be featured in architectural and design magazines and even the newspaper. I need to create a buzz. That's what will get me clients. If you could loan me just a couple $100,000, I could create what I want, and then my business will be off and running. I'll pay you back really fast. Tony ran a hand through his curly white hair. He smoothed his mustache and tapped the side of his long nose, the nose he had unfortunately handed down to Sergio. Okay, Tony said. I'll loan you the money, but it's a short-term loan. You can't pay it back in 6 months. They'll pay it back in labor. Sergio, who had been starting to smile, frowned. What do you mean? You have to come drive a truck for me. Sergio stared at his father. Then he shrugged. Why not agree to it? You'll be able to pay back the loan before that would happen. Still, the exchange concerned him. Over dinner, his concerns turned into a full-blown annoyance. After they had dinner al fresco, sitting on the iron and glass table in the stone patio in the back garden. It would have been a nice meal if Claire hadn't kept sniping at him. Do you want to try some of my roasted Brussels sprouts? She asked him at one point. They're really good. Sergio's mother found the question amusing. Sergio doesn't like Brussels sprouts, Claire dear. He's like his father. They don't appreciate good vegetables. Tony ignored the comment. Sergio couldn't. It both bothered him where Claire got off telling him what he should like. In the car on the way home, Sergio did what he needed to do. Claire was chattering about how lovely his parents' home was. Have you ever thought about designing a big house like that? She asked. Sergio didn't bother to answer the question. He said, I don't want to date you anymore. Claire looked at him. What did you say? You heard me. I don't want to date anymore. All of you do is find fault in me. I don't like it. Find fault? Well, how do I find fault? The shirts, the CDs? What? Giving you gifts is finding fault? You told me I would wear lifts. You said you felt short. I was just trying to be helpful. You don't like my taste in vegetables? I was telling you mine tasted good. I don't know why you go out with me if there's so much wrong with me, Sergio complained. Claire crossed her arms and glared at him. You're being ridiculous. Yes, see? Now you think I'm ridiculous. Claire sighed. You've lost your mind. Riding in the console, as always these days, Lucky Boy giggled. Claire picked up Lucky Boy and shook the toy in Sergio's direction. And you play with dolls! Sergio grabbed for Lucky Boy. Put him down! He turned to look at Claire, and the truck swerved. Claire held Lucky Boy away from Sergio. You started treating it like a guru, and I gotta along with it. But really, Sergio, it's shocking. A doll. A little statue. It's not your personal guide through life. If you think it is, you're a weirdo. Gary pressed the button and lowered her window. You need to get rid of this thing. She raised her arm and tossed Lucky Boy out of the truck. Sergio lunged for Lucky Boy. As he did, he wrenched the wheel. They were heading into a curve, and the lifted truck couldn't handle the severe turn. It tipped right over, left the road, headed down a rocky embankment. Suddenly, they were upside down, then right side up, then upside down. Viva Loca. And they flip every vehicle is accompanied by a screeching crunch of metal against rock. Every jolt threw them around with the confines of their seatbelts, which jerked against their bodies. Thankfully, Sergio was able to grab Lucky Boy away from Claire as the truck started going over, so the toy wasn't damaged. The truck landed right side up, but its roof was smashed down toward their heads. Claire started screaming the second the truck stopped moving. Sergio worked as fast as he could to undo his seatbelt in himself. He wanted to get out of this compressed space filled with Claire's hysterical shrieking. He managed to kick his crumpled door open and stumble out. As he turned to help Claire, another truck stopped. "Are you okay?" a middle-aged man called out. Sergio took stock. He'd gotten jostled about, for sure. It felt like he'd pulled a couple muscles, and he knew he'd have bruises, but nothing was broken. He looked at Claire. She didn't seem to have anything broken either. He saw no blood. She looked like she was more angry than injured. "We're okay," he called out. "Speak for yourself," Claire snapped. "You're going to pay for this." "I'll go get help." "I'll go get help," middle-aged man shouted. Sergio called out, "Thanks." The truck was a mess. After it was towed, Sergio found out it needed thousands of dollars in bodywork, and it would be a shop for a couple of weeks. Suddenly, Sergio was without a vehicle again. He was also without a girlfriend, and soon he was facing a lawsuit. Claire was suing him for negligence resulting in her injuries. Because Sergio couldn't get the suppliers or choose finishes for his renovation, work started slowing down. On top of that, unbeknownst to Sergio, his contractor had a thing for Claire, and he quit after the incident. "I can't in good conscience work for a man who hits women," the contractor said. That set Sergio's project back a full month, but he wasn't worried. It would all come together. Besides, it wasn't important. He had something far more exciting to think about. The day after Sergio broke up with Claire, he called his mother asking about getting him Sophia's phone number. Before he could ask, though, his mother told him he'd received yet another invitation to his high school reunion. How lucky was that? He'd been better to calling her. He'd meet up with Sophia at the reunion and wow her, and the rest of the class too. "Hey, Mama," he said. "You know Sophia Manchester's mama, right?" "Sophia, what a lovely girl from your class. Yes, we're good friends. Could you find me out if she's going to the reunion?" His mother let out a little squeal. "Oh, my Sergio's so clever. Yes, I could do that. That Claire was a nice girl, but Sophia's much better for you." "I agree, Mama." Content with the perfect girl was much more of his sights, Sergio returned to his attention to the renovation till he heard it from his mother. He didn't take long for her to get back to him. When she called him, he was bubbling with enthusiasm. He shouted in her ear, "Sergio, she's definitely coming. Sophia will be at the reunion." Sergio hung up the phone, grinning ear to ear. Not only was he getting the time he needed to catch up on the renovation, but he was also going to get the girl of his dreams. The next 2.5 weeks passed quickly. Sergio didn't make much progress on the renovation as he wanted, but he wasn't concerned. He finally had his truck back, so things were going to go faster now. You'll have all the time you need," Lucky Boy told him. He was, however, running out of time to get ready for his reunion. "What should I do to get ready for the reunion?" Sergio asked Lucky Boy as he polished up the burger one evening. "I have the right clothes, but I don't think I should do more. I want to knock Sophia's socks off. I think I could go above and beyond. What do you think?" Sergio was living pretty much on his bed. The rest of his furniture was stacked up and covered in plastic to keep it free of paint spatters and dust created by the renovations. He leaned back on his pillow and looked at his little buddy, who was now at his own pillow next to Sergio's on the bed. "Be the best, do the best," the Lucky Boy said. Well, Sergio was the best architect, and he was going to have the best business. "What about my looks?" Sergio said. "Yeah, I know I'm smart, but smart never counted for much in high school. And when I go to reunion, everyone's going to be looking at me just to see a 10-year-older version of who I was then. I want to go back looking different. And I have to admit, I do have some flaws in my appearance. My ears, for instance. They're too big. What should I do about my ears?" "You don't need them," Lucky Boy said. "What does that mean?" "I don't need my ears?" Sergio was confused. "You're better off without them." "You really think so, really?" Sergio asked. "Get rid of what you don't need." Sergio nodded. That makes sense. He thought about going to the reunion without his big dopey ears sticking out. That would be so great. But his ears weren't the only issue. "I still don't look the way I want to. Even without my big ears, I really have to look perfect for the reunion." "You deserve perfection," Lucky Boy said. "Exactly. You're right. I do." Sergio leaned over the box he used for the nightstand. He grabbed a pad of paper and pen. "Okay, Lucky Boy, you need to help me here. Let's figure out what I can do to be the best me for the reunion. Let's make a list so I know exactly what I need to do." "Make a plan for perfection." Sergio grinned. "That's just what I'm going to do." He tapped on the paper and pen. "Okay, well, besides my ears," he said. "I hate my hair," he scribbled on the paper. "Hair is overrated," Lucky Boy said. Lucky Boy was right. Hair was a lot of work. Dale had a shaved head, and women found him attractive. Sergio made a note, and then he frowned. He remembered Dale talking about how much work it was to maintain a perfectly shaved head. More work than keeping hair nice. Shaving wasn't going to do it. His hair would grow back if he needed to go deep. He scratched out his previous work and wrote a new one. He thought for a few seconds. My eyes are too small. I look like a bird. I have beady eyes. What can I do about my eyes? Eyelids cover your eyes. Good point, Sergio said and made another bow. My nose is too long. Cut to fit. That's a rule, Lucky Boy said. Sergio nodded. Of course. Then wood was too long to be trimmed off at the end. He wrote on the pad. My lips are too thick, Sergio said. They look like girls' lips. Wood carvers are artists, Lucky Boy said. Another good point, Sergio said. Why hadn't he thought of that? Was he a master of reshaping wood? He was sure he could reshape anything. He scribbled another note, and then he said, I want to be taller. Remove and reuse, Lucky Boy said. Sergio smiled. Right! He often took a scrap material from one part of a project and repurposed it for another part. He made a note. Then he wondered, what should I do about my belly? Leaner is meaner, Lucky Boy said. Trim the fat. Sergio nodded and wrote on the list. He smiled warmly at Lucky Boy. You're a great help. I'm so glad I found you. Lucky Boy giggled. Sergio sat and wrote a bit longer than he stood. Okay, time to get to work. Sergio crossed to his stacks of boxes, removed them around until he found the one he wanted. Tearing off the tape, he reached in and pulled out a kitchen knife set. He put it on the bed, setting the first box aside. He examined the surrounding boxes until he found the next one he wanted. He ripped the tape from the box and pulled out a pair of scissors, needles, and a thread, a measuring tape, and some twine. He laid all these items out on the bed. He stepped into the makeshift bathroom area and got his razor. He added what he already gathered. Then he left the little carved-out living space and walked into the unfinished gate room. I should have the rest of what I need out there. He looked around. He spotted a box cutter, which he was going to become a kitchen island, and he picked it up. Then he looked around again. His gaze landed on his drill. What would come in handy? Now that there was some wood carving knives. He had a whole set of them. They were extra sharp for exact contouring. Ah, there they were. He found them and tucked them behind the router. Pondering it for a moment, he picked it up too, and then he grabbed the set of bits and he went with it. He surveyed the space again. He needed one more thing. He saw that he was going to look for in the far side of the room. He crossed over, picked up a handsaw, and returned to his living area. He added his new tools to the collection on the bed. He looked at Lucky Boy. What do you think? Do I have everything? The right tools for the right jobs. Sergio felt a rush of excitement. This was going to be awesome. He finally going to fix himself up, and he'd be as eye-catching as successful. Sergio did a moonwalk around the foot of his bed. He spun in a circle and looked at his assembled tools. Where to begin? Sergio's classroom moment was being held in the grand ballroom of the oldest hotel in town. He was excited about that because the ballroom was impressive, with gilded ornate ceilings and carved panel walls, filled with crystal chandeliers and fine artwork. And the room was exactly the kind of room he would make a great backdrop for Sergio's new and impressive look. He was going to drop some jaws this evening, that was for sure. He decided to arrive late as big as the audience possible for his grand entrance. Thankful to have his big truck to get him to his festivities, Sergio drove up to the hotel in gleeful anticipation. This is going to be so much fun. Inside the hotel, most of Sergio's classmates were already in the full party mode. Squid greetings, warm hugs, and fond laughter joined in with 80s rock hits played with raucous band. Even though the room was already fancy, the reunion planners had topped off the room with streamers and had a big "Welcome Class of '85" banner hung high on the wall. Reunion attendees talked and joked and danced under a floating cloud of helium balloons. When the ballroom doors opened to let in the latest arrival, all eyes turned to see who was coming in now. In all unison, all those eyes widened in horror. The music stopped playing and the screech of discordant guitar toward a reverberating clash of a cymbal. Talking ceased entirely. The entire room went completely silent. Then a woman screamed, and another, and another. One woman fainted. Someone threw up. Several people covered their mouths. Several more turned away. Some started running toward the back of the room. Not sure what was causing the upset, Sergio looked behind him to see if something terrible was coming. He saw nothing. A man and a woman were at the far end of the hall, but they were headed the other way. A waiter was coming out of the other ballroom, but he too was going in another direction. No one was behind Sergio. As Sergio turned back towards his classmates, his gaze landed on the floor. He frowned. The floor was disgusting. What had happened to this hallway? Sergio hadn't noticed the floor when he walked in, probably because he was so eager to make his captivating appearance, but now he stared at it. The gold carpet behind him was stained in thick, trailed blood. No, not just blood. White bits of flesh, nestled in blood. He also saw what looked like bone bits, clumps of hair, and blobs of what appeared to be pink, spongy tissue, dropped at the intervals around the center of the hallway. The blobs gleamed in the glow in the overhead chandeliers, which seemed to wiggle as he looked at them. It was nauseating. Sergio was appalled. He thought this was going to be a classy hotel. Someone should do something about this mess, but if he went to the hotel employee now, he'd mess up his timing. His classmates were waiting for him. Sergio looked back down the hall and where he left Lucky Boy sitting in the chair so he could watch Sergio's triumph. Lucky Boy would agree that Sergio deserved the best of the cleaners to take care of this mess. Lucky Boy giggled. Sergio looked down at his feet and noticed even more gruesome waste standing in the carpet next to the brand new shoes. Oh, for heaven's sake! Some of the gore had even gotten into the black leather. He leaned over and wiped up what looked like some rubbery gristle. He looked his head, and now deal with the hotel's janitorial shortcomings later. He turned back to his fellow classmates. Now, he said to himself, where is Sophia?
So I have terrible news. I just got done with the book or editing it, but I was like, at the end I was like, ew, that's grody, and I looked up to my horror, kind of like how they did at the reunion, at that high school reunion in the episode, to see that, my audio input capture is still going off. How is that doing that? That's super confusing. And then I realized, oh no, oh please no, my freaking webcam mic has been on this entire time, and I've never recorded with my webcam mic. Good news, it's going through my synthesizer with SteelSeries, so that's good, but it's also not good because I don't know what that's gonna sound like. Like, that could sound like total poo-poo garbage, and I wouldn't know. So that's an oopsie on my part. I just did an entire reading or episode with just that, so that's not good at all. So that's not good. Yeah. Anywho, what is good is that today we read pages 121 to 142. I thought I copy pasted that. I guess I did. Next time we'll be reading pages 143 to 160 of What Is Found. I really don't know. I don't really remember anything about What Is Found. I think with this book specifically, I was like, okay, I'm done reading after Sergio's Lucky Day. And honestly, we could just talk about that chapter real quick, because our section of the book real quick. It was weird. I mean, just that ending felt sort of forced. Like, I wish I don't know. Like now that we have the whole picture together, he worked at a firm. He got his new job. He always wants something greater. That was greatly explained. And then just like, oh, he found something called Lucky Boy. This is this, and then it slowly but surely becomes his deity. I think that kind of at first was forced on. Like, oh, should I do this? And Lucky Boy was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you should. I think that was kind of forced on because he's like, oh, I guess I'll listen to this toy, buy a lotto ticket. But then again, kind of not. I don't know. I'm just super confused why this is a Five Nights at Freddy's story of any sorts. And then just at the end where he becomes, I guess, like a fleshy blob. I just feel like that's kind of forced. But like, hold on. Lucky Day. And like, is there a picture? Did someone ever make a yeah, I guess so. I was just looking up, like, did anyone ever like make a photo of him? Oh, there's a graphic novel on it, so of course I can't really show that, but yeah, so this is what they're saying he looks like in the end. I don't know. It's fine. I like the SpongeBob meme though. That's funny. Um but yeah, like I thought. So this is what he looks like in the end, is just like a fleshy monster. I don't know. They didn't really explain that one in such great detail like I was hoping they would. What was that Mr. Incredible meme? I can't, not again. I'm not strong enough. Black box, especially Scott just looked like a flesh and oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just a meme about the story. I didn't know the reading series was that deep in the community. But yeah. So just stuff like that, and I don't know. It's like it's cool. It's fine. It's whatever. That ending felt a little forced. Like him being an architecture, maybe they could have gone into something like, oh, him talking more details about architecture during it all. Like, sure, he worked at a firm, but that doesn't necessarily mean he knows anything about working on architecture. Like him, oh, I have this fully sharpened wood carving set. Like, how did we know you were into wood carving? Like there could have been something throughout the story, like Oh, he returned home, threw his bag on his table covered in wood carving things, a hobby of his through high school that he thought would get him girls and to get him the attention of Sophia, but never did. Like just something, a simple sentence like that. Like something stupid like that, where it's like, oh, he actually is into architecture and wood carving. He doesn't like the paperwork behind it. He likes getting down and dirty with it. That's kind of where it is. But like, if that's the graphic novel picture too, like of it, um, that's he did a great job. Like, usually you would, stab yourself to half to death, with that, but I think he did a great job considering. But yeah, hope you guys have a super fantastic, wonderful day. People like, be efficient, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Next time we'll be reading What We Found, which I don't remember reading. And yeah, super fantastic, wonderful day, y'all, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!